Hello, everybody. Welcome to Transformational Entrepreneur TV. Sorry for the little delay there. We should have started 10 minutes ago. But, Lynn is such a powerhouse. She's been sending too much energy into this feed. And I think that we just shut Be Live down for a little bit. So that's just the way it is. I'm sorry. This is the power of the guests that I, bring to you here to Transformational Entrepreneur TV. So this is all part of, what this is about, transforming everything. It's like, as I was going through this whole process, I'm just going, I'm just staying calm. I'm just going, this is going to be okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm not on national TV where I've got to hit the exact time, and this is what we've got to do with life. We've got to, just go with the flow and go with stuff. Nothing's perfect. If you have a look at me, I've got a mark on my head here. I don't know how that's happened. And that's just appeared now. So I could be embarrassed about this and go, oh, no, I can't be on TV. This is going on YouTube. This is going on podcast. Everybody's going to see me. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Transform everything. Just see that life is full of things that are going to get you. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is going to go the way you plan it. And, as Lynn said, I need to prepare myself and be on, 5 or 10 minutes earlier. And I didn't do that. That's my mistake. So it's all about making adjustments, learning and making it right the next time. So transformation is the key to everything. So there you go. Well, without further ado, I would like to introduce my very special guest today, Line Brunet. We've known each other for quite some time now. I think maybe you even knew me from Brazil, and you've interviewed me a couple of times, and now it's the tables turned. I get a chance to introduce you. So yeah, Lynn has got a lot of experience in internet radio and, and stuff like this. And I'm going to let you just, tell us about your latest project just quickly and what you're doing and what you've been doing. And then we'll launch into everything. How would that be?
Absolutely. And thank you for having me. It's exciting to be on the other side because I think I had you about 3 times as a guest on my show. So I love being on the other side. This is great. So my latest this year, I got into doing what you're doing and in doing live broadcasts and then repurposing that into a podcast, because that's my original love is internet radio and podcasting. So I started that just over 8 years ago. End of April was my 8-year anniversary. So that's my latest project, is doing a live stream show called Grit and Grace TV with my co-host, Chris Ripka, who has been doing live streaming for a long time. So that's my latest thing that I'm so excited and passionate about.
That's awesome. And how's that going? What's the format for that? It's
fantastic. It's the best response I've ever received in the past 8 years of doing internet radio and podcasting. Because like you said in the beginning, nothing's ever perfect. You're going to learn along the way. That's why I think it's beneficial to make your own mistakes rather than follow somebody else's plan because they want you to avoid the mistakes they did. Sometimes you have to make your own mistakes. They're unique to you. So it's going fantastic because I've learned from my own mistakes, things that work better for me because everybody's different. Mm-hmm. And the response has been overwhelming to the program, like overwhelming. I think my co-host and I have a great chemistry on air. And we did a couple things different launching. We didn't launch the way you would normally launch something. So the response has been great. And I can really do a show that sometimes gets people mad, but that's the purpose of our show. Our format isn't guests. We co-host and we talk about things that we think conversation should be started. And we get people riled, and that is our whole purpose, because when someone is pissed off, they keep thinking about it and they talk about it. And that's what we want people to do. That's how change happens.
So really you're working with strategic intervention there, because, I mean, a strategic interventionalist will use anything in their toolkit to make a difference. I mean, Vander and Grindler, I mean, they were doing some crazy stuff. Tony talks about them locking people in the room. I think it was the two of them. And they would like act like crazy and saying, "You're not going to go and do that to him, are you? I told you, we can't do that," you know? And it's like they were doing stuff to really, it was all very highly experimental, and they were, you know, using all sorts of techniques to make a shift in people. So I guess that's, I mean, this is the outcome you're looking for, isn't it? To make a shift.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's individual, right? Like, we can tell people things, but they have to have their own personal shift within themselves. And I love the way Tony has such grabbing statements that he'll say to people, like just shocking. And you'll see how automatic people are in their thinking, that he says something so shocking and people keep telling their same story. They're still locked in that same story. So that is exactly the thing. We want to bring up different things in our program that will shock people, because that, you know, look, it's pain or pleasure, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, we're gonna bring up some things that people are going to either really love, so they can learn that way, because we learn in love, we learn in pleasure, or it's going to be so shocking that we're going to make people mad, which I have had one person said that to me. That show really, you made me mad, and my response was good. Because right. You're going to talk about it. And then they did, and they talked to their coworkers, and that's how we make a difference. That's how we make a change, because people are going to talk about it, not going to be, "Oh, well, that was really nice." And that's the end of it.
Yeah.
I'm an instigator anyway at heart.
You're right. And you know, it's like how much stuff, if everything's nicey, I mean, if you think about the big changes that have happened in our lives, is it really when everything is nice? It isn't. It's when something hit you slam in the face and everything fell to pieces. You know, one of the best videos that I did on Facebook was about, you know, I don't remember the exact title now, but it was something about like, you know, bad things, when bad things are happening, this is the best thing that could ever happen to you. I wish I could remember the title. It's gone out of my brain. But it was like a title which was there to just get people, what? How can bad things be good? You know, and they really took that on board, because it's, you know, this is it. When something bad is happening, this is when we pay attention. This is when it grabs our attention, and we've got a choice. You know, right. We've got a choice. The choice is you either keep having bad stuff happening to you and you go through pain and suffering, which is most people's choice, or we say, okay, right, I'm not having this anymore. You know, this is going to end right this second. I don't care how long it's been in my life and how impossible it is, but I decided that I'm going to change. And so we do listen, unfortunately, to pain more than we do pleasure. That's now, right. That doesn't mean that you've got to start going around and be a masochist. I always get confused. Sadist and masochist.
Or a martyr.
A martyr, yeah, doing bad stuff to yourself. It's like, no. But it's like when stuff does come, then you can see this as an opportunity to change, an opportunity to transform. And this is what I love about this word transformational entrepreneur. When you're in business, you know, there's going to be a whole lot of stuff that's going to happen to you. And, you know, some of it's going to be bad. And then people are going to rip you off, and you're going to have bad days, and you're going to wake up and just like go, I can't do this anymore, or my whole business is falling to pieces, and I don't know how I'm going to pay for this or whatever, and I've lost all my investment. There's a ton of roadblocks like this, moments in your business that are going to happen, and you just got to transform it and just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, rock bottom is the best place to build a foundation. right? To
Yeah.
go up. And like Tony says, our biggest problem is thinking we shouldn't have any. And so we will never have, we need to have resistance in our life so that we can test our grit, so that we can become resourceful. You know, I've always said that the key to success is resourcefulness. We have to be able to pull within ourselves to know, for one, that we've learned and know where our skill set is. Absolutely. So yeah, we need that. We need it. Absolutely. Because you're never going to stretch. If everything's great, you're going to become complacent and lazy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's always through resistance that we make our greatest achievements. There's always got to be something that motivates us and getting us moving forward. And, you know, sometimes, I mean, if you look at like a gold medalist, for example, then they don't want their record to be beaten, or they want to be the greatest, and they'll go through that pain. It's that maybe the pain for them is being beaten or not being number one anymore. They decided that's where I need to be.
Well, that's how you train your muscles too, right? When you're working out your body, it's resistance training. You need resistance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very cool. Awesome. So, well, I mean, we're talking a lot about Tony Robbins, and we're both, you know, really, really into him. I think we've done similar training as well, haven't we, Lynn?
Yes, we did. Yeah. Strategic intervention training.
That's right. Yeah. So what other things have you got to share with us about transformational entrepreneur? Can you think of any things that have happened in your life which you transformed, or something that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Well, I think that it's a necessary thing for, especially if you're going to be a business owner, or you're going to, you know, you're going to be an entrepreneur. You have to transform. I mean, an example is, you know, when I consult with podcasters and developing a show, I tell people right off the bat that you can lay out the best plan for your show and know the format and how you want to run it, and maybe the questions you're going to ask, but I can guarantee you that your show is going to change. It's absolutely going to change. It has to change so that you can grow as a host, so that you can keep up with what's going on, so that you can learn, because as you do your show, you learn as well. You learn from the people that come on. If you have guests, you know, you can have the best laid plans, but they will never stay that way. And if you fight, if you resist and you say, I want it to stay the way that I planned because this is the way I planned it, it's not going to go well. And that's where things will go sideways. And that's where it's not going to feel in alignment for you anymore. When you try to hang on to a plan so strong, that's where the fun goes out of it. And I remember years back, probably, I don't know, 2-3 years after I got into podcasting and starting my practice, I hit that brick wall with that. And one day it was like, you know what, I'm not looking forward to waking up in the morning anymore. I became a business owner and I became an entrepreneur because it was fun for me, and it became no more fun. It became a struggle, and it was like, well, then I might as well go get a job. And I thought, no, that's not why. And I had to throw everything away and be willing to transform through that process, to let things change and morph and be the way they're supposed to be. That is the whole purpose of life. And when you're an entrepreneur, you and your business are one and the same. So if you're not willing to allow that to change and you are fighting that, it's going to go sideways. You're not going to have fun. You're not going to grow, and your business isn't going to grow.
Yeah, you're talking about transformation, and I believe there's like a flow to life. I think there's a flow to everything. And when we're in tune with it, then everything really goes in place. I remember when I was like, as a teenager, there was a friend that I used to hang out with, and he's like 20 years older than me. And he was a bit of quite a wise person. And I was very fortunate to have him as a friend. And he would talk about this concept of what he called going with flow. And it was very logical to me. I could understand him. And the more, as I go through life, the more that I can feel it. And that's what I do. It's like people don't understand why I don't do stuff the same as everybody else, but I will go with the flow of it. And that's where Transformational Entrepreneur has been something that's been on my mind for a while, but something just went, this is the time. And I just went, bam, launch, just did it.
Yeah.
And went straight into it. And that's just the way I am. I just flow. It's like, does it feel right? Does it feel like right to have a certain person, to interview and be on? And I just go with how it feels. And I mean, what are your experiences with flow? What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely learned that too. You have to, and that relieves stress, and again, that resistance. You hear a lot about balance in life balance, and if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you might as well throw the concept of balance out the window, because you are constantly going to be stressed. You're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to constantly doubt yourself. So it's better to flow. Sometimes you're going to be running around like a maniac because you are busy and you will be a little bit overwhelmed. And then there's going to be times where you will naturally have downtimes. And then that's where you recharge. That's where you reflect and you look at where you're going personally and professionally. So I find that in talking with people, they're fighting so hard. There's so much focus on trying to maintain balance with their business and their lives between the two, that it becomes this whole other creature that they're fighting rather than just going with the flow. You know what? Sometimes you're going to eat pizza for 2 days, or you're going to forget to eat, or whatever the case may be. That is the nature of it. And if you can't handle being in that, then maybe, entrepreneur isn't for you. I saw a great quote that said, my hours are from the time my eyes open till the time my eyes close. And that's what it is. Mm-hmm. You are in it because the thought of not doing it is like not breathing. And you have to understand that there is an ebb and flow to it. Absolutely. So be in flow. Go with how it feels. Is it feeling good? Even if it's overwhelming, as long as it feels good, we're still okay with that. The stress comes in the resistance of it. So flow is absolutely necessary. The balance.
I love that. I mean, when you're saying it's the resistance which is causing the stress, I totally agree. If I can just pick up on a few of those points, because it's just like really lighting me up here. And definitely. You do, as an entrepreneur, you do need to work late, and that's the way it is. But it's not a case of, like, people seem to associate this with how their reaction would be with a normal job. The reason you don't like your job is because it's not where your heart is at. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't transform it. And, in further, I'm going to be talking about that I'll do some stuff on my own rather than interviews and talk about this. But, when you're an entrepreneur, you do it because you love it. You do it because it's your passion, and the time just goes really quickly. And this is the most successful people are doing what they love. So for me, I love being in front of the camera, and I believe that you do as well, Lynn. So, for us, this is easy. This is pleasure. And my girlfriend can't understand why sometimes I'm working until 1 o'clock in the morning and say, that's enough, because she's got a regular job and she clocks on, she clocks off, literally. But I don't. It's like, if I feel like doing something, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And, sometimes I'm going to have a bit of time off. For me, before an interview, sometimes I want to just switch myself off. And so a lot of people, we talk about not watching TV, and I know that is not a good thing, but I wanted to watch some comedy just to kind of, get myself into the right mood. And I did that. That's where I went with the flow. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go with the flow of what is right for me. And there's no right or wrong. For some people, you don't watch television ever, and they're going to do this. Great. That works for you. And I think you should definitely minimize TV, and you need to be very careful. But if you're using it skillfully, it's like anything. There's no good or bad. Again, it's just flowing with stuff, and this is what's so important. And, people are trying to get this balance. You was talking about work and love, and they're fighting against that. And it's like, to me, when you're going with flow, you are flowing with the universe. You can call it God, you can call it the
energy.
Universe, you can call it whatever you want. Sorry, what did you say, Lynn?
Energy.
Yeah,
it's your energy.
Whatever you want, but this universe has got there is a universal intelligence of something, and it's whether you're religious or you're not, it doesn't matter. It's still there, and that's what you're linking into. You're giving into this energy, and when you can do that, then things really, really, really take off. Yeah. What are your thoughts on saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Like when you're fighting it, you're not thinking right. You're not tapping into your creativity, and flow is what's going to, draw out your creativity. When you're trying to follow another plan, you're essentially telling your creativity and your gut and your instinct, that feeling, I don't need you. So, don't bother showing yourself within my business. You have to, flow is what's going to allow those thoughts, the creativity of what you do and how you're going to do it to come out. Because everything is, things can come in, and if it doesn't feel good, not every thought or idea has to be the magic idea. Sometimes it changes as it comes in. And if we just touch on something, like you said, you'd been thinking about it for a while, you'll have those thoughts and you may like it, but it's not the right moment, and you can put it to the side. So if you don't tap into flow of your life and that energy and how you feel it, you're going to shut that down. When people say, oh, I just know, oh, I know that. Well, you're cutting off any creativity there, any learning, any growth. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's totally essential. Things are going to change, and you have to transform. You're going to come up against some really crappy things, and you're going to come up against some really crappy people. Yeah. And you're going to need that flow when you find yourself in those situations. There's going to be people who do you wrong. There's going to be situations that don't feel right. And that flow is going to be essential in how you want to work, and what that allows you to know how much you can take, because being an entrepreneur is not Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It's 7 days a week. It's when you're feeling compelled, and everybody is different. For me, my creative time is like around 10 o'clock at night. Well, you have to be open to flow with that time. And it took me a while to learn that things like paperwork and phone calls with other professionals happen in the morning. I'm good at that in the morning. I'm not going to necessarily be creative. I flow better in creativity at night. So, find that for you. Find that for yourself, and set up your days that way. Don't try and force the things that you have to do in your business. At this time, this is what you do first thing in the morning because someone else told you. Well, the 5 a.m. club may not be for you. You might be the midnight club, and that's where your creativity flows. So it's all learning that for yourself and feeling that, and don't try and stay stuck in a box of, I need to get up at 5, I need to exercise, I need to start, brainstorming at 7 a.m. It's not necessarily going to work that way. And if you don't tap into the flow of your life, nothing is going to go right from there.
It's true. I totally agree. It's like I see lots of people asking for advice. I've seen, for example, with writing, when's the best time to write? Well, people can give their advice, but it's all down to you. It's down to what is right for you. So it's a case of experimenting. Try it out. Try in the morning. Does that suit you? No. Try midday. Does that suit you? No. Okay, try the evening. Does that suit you? Just find out what works for you. And you're picking up on your point about what you said about, people are, bad things are going to happen and people are going to be bad to you, and getting into the flow of that. And to me, my biggest thing is about being mindful. I studied a lot of Buddhism, and I did a lot of meditation, and I even lived in Buddhist centers for a while. And what that did was it taught me a lot of working. Well, they say the mind is here in your heart, rather than here, because this is your logical, you do everything from your heart. So we'd say the mind is here. You be mindful, watch what's happening. Why am I having this reaction? Why is this coming up? These are useful things. If anybody's...
And that's hard.
Sorry. Whoever's watching, please say hi to us. I can't see you on Be Live. It'd be great to get some likes from you. We love that. Some loves. We love that. Say hi. Love to see who you are. And if you've got any questions, please go ahead. I'm sorry, Lynn, say what you're saying. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I just love what you said about, your mind is here where your heart is. Absolutely. I think that, we operate on how we feel, and that includes being an entrepreneur and starting a business. What is the feeling that you want? And that feeling comes from your heart, from those emotions. So, for some people, what we've been talking about may be difficult. They may be, well, I don't understand what flow is. So think about how you want to feel throughout your day as you're doing what it is that you're doing. How is it that you want to feel? And whenever a task comes to you, or someone approaches you, or a situation comes to you, or an opportunity comes to you, is that going to give you the feeling that you want to feel? And sit with that. And I love that you said being aware, because it absolutely is being aware of the flow, the best times for you. So are these things that are coming at you, are they going to make you feel the way that you want to feel? And if you're really honest with yourself and don't look at, well, I really should. No. Is it going to make you feel the way you want to feel when you started this? And if it's not, then it's a no, and you move on. And that is flow. Then you will start understanding flow, and you will know how to move about your life and your business, because it's the same thing. You can't separate your business from who you are. That's why you started it. That's what an entrepreneur is. So I love that you said that. That's where your heart is. It absolutely is. And it's all practice. Mm-hmm. We practice this. You and I, we practice this flow thing and awareness thing. I mean, we're not saying, hey, we got it. And, it's practice for us too. We just have the tools. We know how to tap into it quicker. So it's all practice. So we're not saying, do it this way. You find it for yourself. Yeah,
everybody's got their own way of doing stuff, and it works. And you're saying about, I know I should. Whenever you use that sentence, I know I should, most of the time, that's probably it's not, I know I should. Other people have told me that I should.
Yes.
So be aware of that one. Make sure that it really is from, I know I should. Not, I am doing this to please others because I think I should. So this is where mindfulness comes again, because you can go into this and say, what is really happening? Why should I do this? What has got me to this stage where I have decided that is the correct course of action. So,
and I see this too with people get very caught up, and we see this now. People get very caught up in needing to know full details. They get so caught up in their mind that they never begin. They never start. They feel that urge, that craving inside, but there's so much in their head, and they're fighting the flow of what they want to do. And you have to just go. You have to just start, because like I said in the beginning, it's going to change. It's going to change. I mean, I've seen it with you, Andy, what you do. You've seen it with me. We see it with other people. You change and you transform. You have to be open to that.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's just having the courage to go for it and do it. And when things go wrong, it's not a big deal. I mean, the biggest thing that made the greatest difference to me for being able to get in front of a camera like this and just, and at the beginning it was really difficult. And there are times when, like yesterday, it was the first time I was doing an interview for a while, and I did have butterflies, I'll admit it. And, but I know how to get myself into state and I know how to prepare myself. But this is just normal. And I think the biggest thing that we can have is just having the courage to just go and do it, and the courage to know that it doesn't need to be perfect. That was a real game changer for me. I'm just myself, and people love me or they don't love me, and that's okay. The people who don't love me, they just go away and they go and find somebody who is suitable for them. And there's plenty of people who, fortunately, I appeal to them. They like the way that I am. They like the way that I do my stuff. And that's great. That's giving me the confidence and the courage to continue. And It's like with today's show, I apologize. The technology's not quite there. Lynn has been freezing a couple of times, and we've done everything we can to get that right. And so that's just the way it is. But I'm not going to panic about it, because the quality of what we're talking about is the only thing that's important. And I will do my utmost to improve the technology. And we talked about this off camera, and I'll find a better solution, and that's it. It doesn't matter. I don't need to make this a big thing. So there is a point where you can transform, and this is what life is like. And I realized with my business that my business was teaching me giving me the greatest opportunities to grow. And because there were so many things that were hitting me so hard and so fast, I had to grow very quickly. And that's what this is all about. That's what Transformational Entrepreneur is all about. You have a choice. You can go and kick and scream and say that the whole world is against you and having a business is the stupidest idea possible. And, as Henry Ford said, if you believe that, then you're right. It's not just about if you can, you're right. If you can't, if you believe you can't, you're right. It's about everything. If you believe that having a business sucks, you're right. If you believe that having a business doesn't suck, you're right. You make the decision. It's your choice, your world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You have to be willing to grow and transform and change. Look, just like that quote that says that a snake that cannot shed its skin will perish.
Exactly. So true. So true. Well, wow, the 30 minutes have just absolutely flown by, not surprising. So have you got any final words, or, would you like people to go to a specific site, or how can they find your show? I'll put them down in the link later.
Sure. Yeah. I'd love for people to come and join the conversation on our show, Grit and Grace TV. Okay. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Grit and Grace TV, and also our website, gritandgracetv.com. People can suggest topics. We do answer questions on air if people are struggling with something. Everything is completely anonymous. If it's, for some people it's difficult or there's shame around whatever topic may be. Sometimes it's a funny question. Everything can be done anonymously on the comment or question tab on our website. And, it's about starting the difficult conversations. That's what our show is about. And keeping that conversation going, because conversation is what changes and what heals. And that's what we're doing over at Grit and Grace TV. And life takes grit and grace. It really, really does. So join us over there, join the conversation, and I would love to hear any other subjects, because, my co-host and I can only come up with so many. And we're going to be moving to 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday evenings. So there is lots of opportunity for conversation and to join in and to share, whether you want to join it, but you would just like to see us start the conversation so you know where to take it yourself. We would love it, appreciate it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, so please, everybody, go to gritandgracetv.com and the Facebook group as well. Maybe you could type that in the link later and just put that in. I just want to make sure that we get that right.
Sure.
Lynn, it's been absolutely awesome having you on the show. Maybe we can do this again sometime. It would be lovely. You've got to catch up. It's 3-1 at the moment. So
yeah, that's right.
back again for that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for being on the show, and thank you everybody for tuning in and watching and on the live. And you seem to be shy today. Usually people are a bit more talkative. I know you're there. I can see you, but you don't want to talk to me. But that's okay. We do the talking. And if you're watching on the recording, thanks as well. So that's it. Thanks again, Lynn. And that's Transformational Entrepreneur TV signing out for this week. Until the next time. Bye for now. Thanks, Lynn.
Thank you.